So in this video, we're going to be working out of the OpenStax textbook, working on example 1.18 from the book. There is a free Excel workbook that you can work alongside to do this. By the way, you can access the OpenStax text for free. You can just check out the link in the description in the video, and then the Excel workbook that you're going to see me work in. You can look in the description in the video for a link, or go to divideandconquermath.com and then just look for OpenStax Statistics Chapter 1. So for this video, I am on this frequency example 2 tab. So you should be in a desktop version of Excel. The desktop version tends to work better than the web version. And if you click through the arrows here, you should be able to find the last tab down here. So there are a handful of questions in this example, but the whole thing about it is that you need to build relative and cumulative frequency to answer that. And so what I've done is I've copied the table out of the OpenStax textbook and I just pasted it into Excel, and now I'm going to build everything that I need. So before you can do relative and cumulative frequency, you have to take the data points that you have and you always have to find your total. So I'm going to use that sum formula, and I'm going to sum up all of these data points like you see here. And I can see now that I have a total of 70. Now from here, I should be able to write one formula in relative frequency and copy it all the way down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and then equal, and then I'm going to take each data entry divided by that total. So I always want each data entry divided by the total, so I just want to have a nice efficient formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this total reference, which is something that we've talked about in the previous tab. So I recommend you watch those if you aren't familiar with blocking. So I'm going to go ahead and put a $sign in front of the B and the 14, which locks this whole reference. I'm going to hit enter. And then from here, I can just drag my formula down, bada bing, bada boom. And if I go down here, I should get to 100%. I'm going to show you one other little handy trick to make sure that you did this right. So we know that relative frequency should add up to 100%. So if I select all of my little entries here, so what you'll notice is actually after you've selected this group of numbers, one thing that Excel does is it automatically sums them, and you can see this sum down here. It says 100%. So Excel automatically, if you select some cells, will calculate the average, the count, and the sum. These are really handy references to know just to do a quick check of your work. Now, for cumulative frequency, we have to type in for 2 cells to get started. So in this case, for cumulative frequency, the first entry is always the same thing as the first entry in your relative frequency. But then after that, your cumulative frequency is always the previous entry plus the current entry. So you should be able to type in that formula, and then once again, you should be able to drag it down, and the last entry is always 100%. And so from here, there were a handful of questions in the OpenStax text. And so now that you've got the table all filled in, you should be able to answer the rest of these.